The House approved a combined bill yesterday to avoid a government shutdown and raise the debt limit. The bill would fund the government through December 3rd and suspend the debt ceiling until after next year's midterm elections. That bill now heads to the Senate with only 8 days left before the government is expected to run out of money. Democrats say inaction is dangerous on this bill, but Republicans insist it will hit a dead end in the Senate. As the debate continues, we take a look at how our local representatives voted in the House. All four are Republican and all four voted against the measure. Kentucky Republican Congressman Brett Guthrie told us, quote, "I cannot support Speaker Nancy Pelosi's efforts to raise our nation's debt limit as Democrats pursue a reckless budget that would lead to the highest sustained federal spending levels our country has ever seen." And Eyewitness News' Brad Bird sat down with Indiana Republican Senator Mike Braun this afternoon about this very topic. Let's take a listen.
Senator Braun, thanks for taking time to talk with us. The debt ceiling, Democrats and some independent analysts say if it's not raised by the deadline, it could be catastrophic, sparking a recession. How do you take that, Senator?
I think that's the wrong adjective to use, catastrophic. They know all the mechanics involved in terms of what Treasury can do and how this happens. And the good news is they've got full control to lift it, suspend it themselves. In the past, we've always had divided government to where it's taken, I think in most cases, both sides of the aisle. Here, they've got full latitude to do it on their own. And for most of us on the Republican side, I think it is hypocritical to now not want to do it when we've been complicit and kind of involved in spending out of control at the federal government level long before I got here. But most of this recent spending, where you're talking about $3.5 trillion for a soft infrastructure bill, $2 trillion for called the rescue bill for COVID, that only 10% of it was aimed there. That is where I think finally leadership on our side said enough is enough. I would have been against raising it or suspending the debt limit regardless. Finally, I guess this is the epiphany we've had to have to know that this is not good in the long run, and they can raise it solely on their own.
And we're talking, of course, also about two infrastructure bills in all this. COVID relief money for millions of Americans could possibly be impacted if that ceiling is not raised. Would this be very tough to not raise this ceiling in the middle of a pandemic?
So I think that's a political posturing that wants us to buy in on doing it based upon the recent spending that didn't. You got to remember what we did in 2020 was almost 100% bipartisan with the CARES Act and the PPP program. I believe everybody voted for that mostly in all cases. Here you haven't had one Republican vote for the rescue bill and or especially this reconciliation package. So to me, that's different. They own that spending, and the debt ceiling, if they want to raise it, they need to do it.
And this has happened, Senator Braun, 100 times when I checked my history books since 1917, where an adjustment has had to be made one way or the other. When the government shuts down, whether it's fair or unfair, the party that apparently forced the issue takes the blame in the eyes of the public. In recent years, that has been Republicans. Is that a fair statement?
That's when you needed Republicans to go along to raise it or suspend it, Brad. You do not need one Republican to vote for suspending the debt limit. And since the Democrats did the recent spending that's way out of context, and back from 17 to probably just 25 years ago, we had very little debt as a federal government. I said earlier, that's the fault of Republicans and Democrats. But government's gone wild since I've been here. Just 2.5 years, a little more. We've gone from 18 trillion to 28 trillion, and now we want to add another 4 to 5. At some point, you got to say enough is enough.
And you are saying then that Democrats are controlling their own destiny on this, and they can raise this ceiling.
They are.
But in the eyes of the public, if there's a hiccup on this, Republicans may have to answer for that, too, in some way. Would you agree with that? We have just about 30
Maybe
seconds.
in the most recent poll that we've seen and that I've heard about, 40% of the public would blame it on both sides, and there's some logic to do that. But when you take the rest of it, a lot more fault would be put on the shoulders of the Democrats, not the Republicans. So they're taking the political risk here, and it should be a signal for both sides to start running this place in a more responsible way.
Well, we'll see what happens during the next few days. Senator Braun, thanks a lot for joining us and giving us your perspective on this.
You're welcome.
All right.